Resolved. Christianity is bad for LGBT Americans. Dan Savage says it doesn't have to be. Brian Brown called out the moderator as not being objective when he suggested the title for the debate that they had be Christianity is bad for LGBT Americans. Now, Dan Savage said that it does not have to be, and there is evidence out there that, one, it doesn't have to be, and two, there are pro-LGBT clergy and LGBT clergy who are, in fact, meeting the spiritual needs of LGBT Americans. So let me get into the backbiting blog that Brian Brown has put up on Nam's blog, and I will have a link to it. But he also talks about he basically says there is a marriage ADA interview with Julia Naiman, one of the young teens whose faith Dan Savage decided to attack in an event billed as an anti-bullying initiative for middle and high school students. The thing is, it was a voluntary assembly, and it was a journalism conference. So that is kind of that's basically a trick. Many people obviously have put up that they believe Brian Brown won because he had logic, natural law, and this on his side. However, the fact is the right wing is not known for logic, and he could not use any logic that he used against gay couples against straight couples. And he also says here on the blog, one thing is very clear to me after we spent time together. Dan believes that the gay people are a tiny, defenseless minority. And he made this claim while defending the public tongue lashing of Christian students that brought us together. He doesn't seem to realize his position as a 47-year-old adult, one with the power of fame, celebrity, and access to not only the White House, but also on TV, requires a new mentality. The scent of bullshit all over the place. But also, let me also say this here, that he believes that gays are not a tiny defenseless minority. However, his talking point alone, his main talking point contradicts that, or actually a tiny defenseless minority. It proves that 31 out of 31 states have decided to ban recognition of legal marriages between gay and lesbian people. And he talks about ridiculing a bunch of high school students and attacking their religious faith is not appropriate. It does not show respect. He does the same thing at every single engagement because those are his beliefs. So even if he were talking to adults, I'm pretty sure that he would have called them pansies too. So that's another thing that Brian Brown doesn't take into account. Another thing that he says is here is that Dan Savage mentions slavery, and Brian Brown says that to say that the Bible is a pro-slavery document is patently false because abolitionists pointed to it in an effort to abolish slavery. But he also talks about Onesimus and Philemon in the New Testament when Paul tells Philemon to accept Onesimus back as not as a slave, but as a brother in Christ. Then we go to Deuteronomy, where they say you can buy slaves from the nations around you and you can bequeath them to whoever or to your children when you die. So basically that kind of that definitely appears to be on the other side of it. And the human rights abuses that have been inherent in slavery is just amazing. But to say that the Bible is a pro-slavery document or anti-slavery document, I feel both are false. Because the Bible talks about slavery as a reality of human life. And in fact, indentured servitude was quite different. So, and I will wrap this up and talk about, for the last little bit, about racism and interracial marriage. And he's saying that gay marriage is not like racism or interracial marriage. But again, in the American South, slavery, the thing was that interracial marriages were looked at as taboo, and not only that, but they were to be prohibited in the law because of a so-called biblical belief that races should not mix. That God made them separate so that races should not mix, but man brought them together, so races did mix. And the fact is, marriage is what they talked about in 1967 with Loving versus Virginia, not interracial marriage. In 1987, they said that marriage extends its rights to those who are prisoners. So with that, I'm going to put the blog post up so that you can see exactly how how Brian Brown is civil in the debate, but totally trashes him when he's talking to his friends. Brian Brown is guilty of everything that he claims Dan Savage is guilty of. And he says that bullying is a strong picking on the weak, and he says, but those kids were strong, really? But what he omits also is that when the weak make fun of the strong, it's satire. So everybody have a great day. I will put the blog post and the other post up so you can decide for yourself if he presented another face in combat, but another one to his comrades. Good day, YouTube.